Hi, everybody. Hi. I'm just waiting for people, or one or two people to come in. It doesn't matter. I hope y'all can hear me okay. Been having some difficulties with that, but working it out, working it out. Mhm. Just having a drink. There's somebody in here. I don't know who it is, though. I hope you can hear me. Can you put in the chat who the person is? Hi, friend. Can you hear me? I knew you was coming for this one. Renisha, I knew you was coming for this one. Oh, I knew it. I miss you, even though I just saw you not that long ago. Okay. Today is a drink day. You know why? It's a drink. It's a drink and talk day, right? So I I turn my desk around. Yes, because I go live every Sunday at 7 o'clock, and I'm very proud of myself for keeping it up. I don't not dressed up like I was last week. I'm tired. Did a lot of stuff today, but yeah, I always go live Sunday at 7. Um, so I'm just gonna get started, and usually people will start coming in. So welcome back. Okay, can y'all see me? Because I got my new ring light and everything. This joint bright as hell. Um, I have to say this. Um, this week has not been the greatest week. I'll be very transparent. It has not been a good week for me. Pressure was extremely high. I don't do 4th of July. Uh, the sounds of it doesn't do well for me. And please be interactive, y'all, just to let me know who's here because I can't tell who's in here. So please, if you want to ask me a question, I'm more than happy to answer as I go along. I have not been feeling this too well. Had to go to urgent care twice. I know why my pressure's been high. I just haven't said much about it, but um, I'm on medication. Um, um, just a lot of stresses. Just life is life, and I mean, it ain't really much you can do about it, right? But I do have to say this: I have so many friends, and my cousin. I'm not gonna say who in case they don't want anybody to know, but has been very very supportive. Um, I've had some cousins reach out that really don't reach out to me, and it's not nobody's fault. Just how it is, and I tell you, I am extremely happy that you did reach out. I'm extremely happy that people it's been nothing but love and I appreciate it because I'm gonna be very honest. After I do these, I am very, very drained. I am very drained to where usually I go upstairs and I go to bed afterwards. I don't have nothing else to give really. So I do want to say I'm very, very appreciative. Um, it keeps me going and to see like even my views go up and I'm seeing my subscribers go up. I stepped out on faith completely. I completely stepped out on faith because I got tired of talking about it, and so this is what I wanted to do. Um, so you see the title from Miss to Miss, right? So believe it or not, a lot of people still didn't know I was divorced. I have been divorced. It would be July 16th. It'll be a year. So before I even did this, I reached out to Mr. F and I told him what I was doing. Just because we do have children together and we are in a better spot in our relationship as parents and just being friends. Um, I told him this is not like a bashing session, but I have to be honest in my feelings and where I stand. And he completely, um, I was gonna do it anyway, but it feels better when you had a talk with that person and gave me the green light and said, just tell whatever your truth is. We came a long way. Okay, y'all, we came a long way. So to get started, October 4th, 2002. That's the day I got married in Cumberland County, North Carolina, Fayetteville, at the courthouse. How did it happen? We was like, hey, let's get married. Like, it was like no real cute story to go with it. So we did. Got my hair done. We went to the courthouse. We dressed up in our class A's. Had the video. Don't know where it is. Right. So the back. Let me go back before that. Mr. F liked me for a very long time, but remember I told y'all in the other episode I wasn't ready, and I think it hit me when we was overseas and I was looking for him, and he with this other girl, and I was like, I was in my feelings real hard, and he could tell. And that girl was Samoan. I don't know what it is with that. Okay, um, she was Samoan. I didn't really mess with her like that, but I gave him the eye, like, really? That's what we doing? So, so we end up going on trash detail, right? This is all in Pakistan. We went on trash detail or whatever. Sorry, y'all. Went to trash detail, and he he was like, "We gonna get married." I said, "That'll be a cold day in hell." I kid you not. That's what I said. On my wedding day, I was cold as hell. Gotta be careful what you say to people. So remember, I told you I went to Germany. When I came back, we dated for 31 days, but we have been friends for like over a year. So it wasn't like I just seen them gliding and that's what we did. Because we was inseparable. And so ended up getting married. We didn't tell nobody. Uh, um, in some ways I regret it, some ways I don't. It is what it is. Um, I was wrong. Um, we got married and we moved into our, because we already lived in our apartment. We had already moved out in Spring Lake, North Carolina. And it was so cute, y'all. And you know, all our furniture was on a payment plan. We couldn't afford a damn thing. So, hey, but we had furniture. Run to the knock a couple times, but hey, when you starting off and you ain't got no money, you do what you gotta do, right? So we was living in Spring Lake, and then I found out, maybe 4 weeks later, I was pregnant with our almost now 22-year-old J J and F. That's my baby girl, right? So we did a lot of stupid stuff because we were young. Um, it was a lot of drinking involved, not on my end. Um, but being his wife, I knew why because I was in the military. And after Pakistan and after we got married, he went to Iraq, and he was never the same. And I don't think he will ever be the same. And it's quite understandable, right? So, um, he wasn't the same. I mean, and when he left, I believe I was 5.5 months pregnant. And like people was going over there, like, oh, your wife got so big, whatever. So he was supposed to come back 2 weeks before our first daughter was born. And she was born July 15th. Um, but that wasn't the case. He didn't come home till August 15th, meaning he missed our first daughter's birth. Like this was the first, so I thought. First kid. And so he missed it, so I videotaped it. And my aunt was like, "Oh my gosh, he looked just like him." And I was crying because he was overseas. But I'm gonna be honest, I got treated very well at Children's Hospital in Buffalo. I did have Jamina in Buffalo, New York, because he was gone. He had went to Iraq, right? So had her in Buffalo. My mother-in-law, sister-in-law had came down, and played with the baby. She looked just like her father. To this day, that girl looks exactly like her father. Like I had absolutely nothing to do with it, right? So when he came, he called me. He finally called me maybe a week after Jamina was born because he didn't even know y'all. And I had to pinch her. Jamina was a crier, so that cry went for a long, long time. And so he was crying. He was excited. Our daughter, and then he told me, he's like, "I'm coming back home." I'm like, "Dad, gotta go." So my dad had to drive with me because I was breastfeeding, new baby, trying to get it together or whatever, right? So got it together, got home, and I remember making Jamina. We was home for like a couple weeks. Um, got home, and he came home like a week later. So I like dressed her up and everything, and made sure she was, make sure she was okay. I'm sorry, y'all. Sometimes I do stuff during live that I probably shouldn't do. Um, so he got off the bus, and the bus looked like it had a smell, and I swear to God, I seen smoke. I really did. It was like really, really, um, it was really, really bad. I'm sorry. Somebody's asking me a question. Nikki, I'm sorry, y'all. Nikki, if you on here, can you tell Michelle the link? Because that's what she just asked me. So got off the bus, and I just handed her to her dad, and she was like, "This dude stink." So of course, excited. First of all, he came back home. That was the most important part, right? So took him home. We had to bathe him because they was on that bus for a very long time, and he stink. And so I'm telling y'all this, he already knows. Um, but Jamina became a daddy's girl, right? So in the beginning, very attentive dad, very attentive husband, even with the drinking. Um, we ended up moving here to Maryland. Jamina was like 3, 4 months old. So what he did, he was still ETSing out. I was done. He was still ETSing out because he was actually beyond his time. So I stayed with his parents, and he went back to North Carolina. Hey, cousin. And he went back to finish everything, right? So I was the little at him wife in the baby. Well, mama, I have to give credit to my mother-in-law. Okay, I still love the lady. Okay, just because you divorce somebody don't mean you be mad at the family. I'm not, because it was between me and him. It wasn't between all of us. Um, she was very helpful because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Even with my dad, I had to call my dad. I was like, he was singing Gladys Knight, Brian McKnight, Luther Van. I didn't know. Jamina was a big crier. So um they helped me out a lot, a lot, a lot, because I had to get acclimated with, he wasn't there. So um his parents helped us out a whole lot too. I think we was there for like, I think, 6, 7 months. And we moved to our first apartment. That thing was in the hood, y'all. Like Jamina room looked like a cereal box. Like, but you know what? We had a great place in North Carolina, but we was no longer in North Carolina. We was in Temple Hills, Maryland. Okay, but we did what we had to do. Jamina was the only child for a year and a half, and thank God he ended up getting a new job, a better job, government job. Um, so find out we are pregnant with mm, daughter number two. I'm not gonna say their names because I don't think they want me to. But y'all know who they are. Um, baby girl was born. She was sick. She had jaundice, y'all. So I had her at PG Hospital, which is now like University of Maryland or whatever. And she was sick, and he was kind of being a butthole. But I'm gonna tell you why I had to let him be a butthole. He missed Jamina's birth, and his mom was there to watch Jamina. But we wanted Mimi. Oh shoot, I don't told it. I messed up. That's my daughter, y'all. Okay, so she had to come watch her, and so I was ready to push, and his mom was talking. His uncle happened to come up there for whatever reason. Uncle, yeah, his oldest, whatever. So he came up here, so we found his mom. He was being a butthole because he just wanted to make sure he didn't miss our second daughter's birth, and then she was born with jaundice. Um, Marriage still pretty much intact. We still do foolish things, but we were really, really young parents, and still trying to figure ourselves out and figure out to be in a marriage, right? Then, y'all, 5.5 months later, I found I was pregnant with my son. Yeah, I got these two side cut because this is ridiculous at this point. I feel like the dude walked past me, I was getting pregnant. That's just how I was feeling. But I wouldn't change anything about my kids. They are 19, 20, and 21. What did y'all know now? Jamina is about to be 22 on the 15th. Um, Being married to him was very, hmm, yeah. If y'all know him, he don't say much, but that's where I said you can't really trust people who don't talk a lot. I get it. In the beginning, we was figuring things out, still newlyweds, um, moving, the military. So we had like a lot of things combined. So we were just trying to like really figure this out, and we didn't know what the hell we was doing. I can tell you that we didn't know what the hell we was doing. I would call his mother and be like, "He did this." She was probably like, "Good God." I'm just being honest. We did. Um, so him getting a better job, whatever, we did move to a bigger apartment, and that's where I found out I was pregnant with Stevie. I'm telling all my kids' names. So it's Mimi, Nana, and Stevie. There you go, y'all. So, um, being an at-home mom was difficult. He was working one job at the time, but he would be picking up like crazy because I was not working. Not that I didn't want to. We ain't trust nobody to watch our kids. Um, I noticed a lot of some disconnect there. I know, girl. I know. So the drinking really did a number on our marriage. Communication did a number on our marriage. Secrets did a number on our marriage. Not being honest put a lot of number on our marriage. Like, let me tell you, I was like really in love with my husband. Like people was like, you changed. And it's like, yeah, when you become a wife and a mother, it's something about being somebody's wife that it's a whole different feeling. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I freaking love married life. I guess I was just not married. I'm not gonna say I wasn't married to the wrong person because I don't regret our marriage. I don't regret it. I regret some of the events that happened, but I don't regret it because my kids would be my kids, right? And I knew he was drinking to cope. I'm not saying this to make him look bad or anything like that because I felt like he was really trying. I felt like he was really, really trying, but he just being young and seeing the thing. I won't even describe what he saw. That's not for me to tell. Um, mm, so being military myself, I stuck by him. He did a lot of questionable things. He wrecked my doggone car because he was drinking. Right up here, y'all, Suitland Parkway. And I was pregnant with Jamina. No, I was pregnant with Julia. And I was in Buffalo with my dad. So, hi, baby girl. There go my Jamina, y'all. That's my baby. Hi, baby. Um, that's the first reason I became a mama. My baby. Um, far as fatherhood for him. He tried, but it was just I would go. I was the primary caretaker, and he was tired, but he tried. But he'll just give them whatever they wanted. I mean, that's most dads, so that ain't nothing. I finally did start to work, and we started working like opposite shifts, or overlapping, and you know, it was points in the relationship I felt like a single person. I felt like a single parent. I was. I was a married single. I was a married single woman. Oh, sorry. I was a married single woman, and I don't think it was supposed to be like that. But it was a disconnect somewhere. Put it like this, y'all. People in his job didn't even know he was married for a long time. Am I right, Renisha? I got her out the door, y'all. She's just my friend now. I don't like sharing. I got two friends out the divorce. But um yeah, we were struggling. Because we didn't know what we were doing. And I was really trying. I think he was trying. But it was one of the downs, but we had our ups too. You know what I mean? Like we did stuff like, especially with Jamina, we took her to the zoo. Like we really did the family thing, because y'all remember in the first episode I didn't have that, so I was trying to create something that I didn't have for my children. And at the moment, my child, um she's a complete daddy's girl, and I completely understand. I'm one, so I get it. I just wish we was more in tune. I really do. I really wish we was just more in tune. And his jobs were a problem. And the issue of he didn't know how to balance home life. His thing, I pay the bills. No, not for me. You have to be a dad, and you have to be a husband, and you have to be a son and a brother. It's a lot, but this is what we signed on for. I was willing to do it all because I wanted to be married, and I really, really loved him. And when all that stuff happened to me, he was the one that was there. He was the one that didn't judge me. He was the one that saw, my mom do some things to me that wasn't cool. Like, he was there. So I was totally invested. And I didn't believe when you get married, you just, okay, we gonna get divorced because things ain't going good on Tuesday and Wednesday. That wasn't how I looked at it. But then we moved. And it was 5 years into our marriage, and he tends to say, I may be having two boys. Uh, Now, I will say it was before me. Okay. Before me. Me and the girl, yeah. Um, yeah. Because I wonder why he didn't want to move to a certain place. Because she lived over there. Now, nothing happened during the marriage. That part I can say. She ended up marrying his coworker, whatever. But he was like, I told you about that. I said, no, you didn't. Because don't know, nobody forgets if somebody say, hey, I may have children somewhere. That's not a thing you forget. That ain't nothing you forget. To this day, we still don't disagree. We still don't agree with what really happened. And so, I come to the house, the two boys is over there. Oh, the hell they come from? But I'm a mother. Okay. These babies don't got nothing to do with this mess. I don't either, to be honest. I just walked into this crap. So this particular apartment off Suitland Parkway. This is where I decided that I think it was time for us to separate. I'm gonna be honest here. I was in the bed, and that instinct, that mother instinct popped, right? And I'm like, something ain't right. Went up there, my son. It was like a cup like this. And to a kid, it's clear, right? So it looked like water. I knew it wasn't water because this dude, all he cared about was video games and jail. I knew that wasn't water. And I caught my son before he drank it. I could have lost my kids. I said, okay, this is how I moved to Buffalo. I'm like, this is done. Like, I can't do this. I can't put myself through this. I can't put myself through this. Still in love with my husband, but I'm in love with the other Steve. I don't know who this dude is. I really don't. Like, he just started going down. Um, I remember working the night before I left, and he was like, "You're not gonna stay home?" I'm like, "No," because I needed that money for when I was gone. So we made this little pact. Like, he was still going. That's one thing he would do. He would still take care of the kids financially, and he did. And I don't want to make it like he didn't do that. And he still took care of me. I ain't never really had to pay no bills. I'm just gonna be honest. Until a year ago, until we got divorced. Um, so I moved to Buffalo truck. My friend, I found an apartment on Craigslist. This is in 2011. Okay, and I hated taking the kids away from their grandparents because they to this day they have a really close relationship with their grandparents, and that I would never interrupt. I'm one of those parents, and right, Mimi. um, when we got in the truck and I drove away, my kids fell asleep. They don't know, but they'll know now. I cried because I know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. Taking my kids away from their dad. And they didn't understand. But I knew he has so many things he needs to fix. And he ended up going to jail twice, 3 times. It was to the point where, before I get to the part where I drove away, my middle daughter, this is like, I'm emotional about this, but it's funny at the same time. We used to have to take him to jail on the weekends. And we used to tell him it was school. Jalea, that middle girl of mine, bright girl. She wasn't even in school yet. I think she was 4. She was 4 or 5. I think she was in school. She was in school. I don't know. She's like, Daddy, do they give you bologna sandwiches at school? At your school? I said, what the hell? So I'm like, oh my God. I said, this girl is like, y'all think I'm stupid. No. She know good well ain't no college got by fire. My daughter wasn't stupid. She's like, Daddy going somewhere, but damn sure ain't school. And so, I covered up a lot of stuff, and he was going to jail on the weekends, but he'll be home during the week. It was very confusing for the kids, and I had to understand. And I didn't want to put a bad taste about their dad. I knew he was struggling, y'all. Like, I'm not saying put him out there like that, but that dude was struggling real. And I had to struggle because I'm always kid at the time. Working the time, I was everything to my kids, and I couldn't get him to get right. And so, of course, we started having issues. And I was like, that's when I was like, all right, we moved to one more house. And that's when all that stuff happened with the alcohol and the kids and stuff like that. So I moved to Buffalo. I was so depressed. I felt like people wanted us to fail. I know who they are. They really wanted us to fail. And I felt like they got what they wanted. Um, He started seeing somebody. Well, I wasn't really seeing the person, but y'all kind of know who he is in Buffalo. Um, so we both did, but I loved him, but I just was like, this is too much. So we had some conversations or whatever, and we was like, all right. I was in Buffalo for 3 years, but I got on my feet. I bought a car. Um, I made sure the kids saw their dad. Uh, I would go down. I would drive down here, and I was never. I would never be one of those parents where me and him is in a bad spot, and the kids can see that. They were there for a month. I was like, I didn't work. I didn't really do nothing. No, I did work. That's all I did. Because I my kids so much. So we still figure out what we doing, coming back and forth. He'll come for Christmas. You know, we still put the parenting thing in, still, but behind the scenes trying to figure out our stuff as well. I think it went away. It did. Back 2014, and because we hadn't lived together in 3 years, trying to figure it out. Um, he ended up losing one of his jobs. That's how he was diabetic. They thought he was drinking. He did a job. Do you know what I'm saying? He didn't do that. And actually, visiting my mother and Jamina. I don't know if you remember this, me, but you called me because you said your dad. And I was like, okay, put orange juice in his mouth. It took her a couple of times to call me. I was, and I said, call your grandparents, 911. Jamina was always on top of it. We found out he's diabetic because they're trying to say he was drinking and stuff. That wasn't true. Um, he, the sugar was through the doggone roof. It takes on the persona. That's what it is, right? So, because that's what you're supposed to do when you marry. It wasn't about, oh, you got to do this or you got to do this. At this point, we just had to do what we had to do, right? So we argued that, um, you know, older kids is needing things. When I say I work 3 jobs, y'all, I work 3 jobs so we can, what, rent into this in this play. I can say her name because I already got 3 yesterday. About this, that because of Jadon. Me and Jadon was in high school together, but never really talked in high school. Crazy. So we went out to dinner at the harbor, whatever. And that's how I got 16, right? And I remember calling my parents crying that I got it, whatever. And I ended up, of course, telling my husband, Jake, March. Well, before then, we were about, it would just be nice to buy a house. Yeah. So I went to visit my dad for a week in Vegas. I only been once, y'all. I can't take the heat. And I came back, and he was like, I got a surprise for you, right? He's like, we gonna share this. And so we had the line. So I'm not gonna say where because my daughter still lives there with her dad, and I'm not gonna say where. But for y'all who know where we found the house at, right? And well, actually, I found it, and it was actually another house, but that one sold, so we bought that, right? Good for me. Never put my house my 6 years. First year, good, right? But he did. I was asking God for a new kitchen, but that's not what I meant. Um, happened like during COVID time or whatever. My dad ended up taking us on, and so did I. He's like, let's take it, let's bring the kids and stuff. Let's do it. Okay. And so we did, you know, we had so much. Okay. One, me and Jamina was kind of sick, but we learned our lesson from the first one. So everybody just say, hey, I just so we go on these cruises every his birthday, you know,